Today's mail day is a special one. Unpackaging this bright red retro metal universe looking card, he finally completed the Precious Metal Gems golf set. But now, in the moment of triumph, he couldn't find the crown jewel that he had picked up 6 months ago, the Tiger Woods Precious Metal Gems. He tore through drawers, sifted through an avalanche of top loaders, and scattered bubble mailers across the floor. He sifted through random stacks of cards. An hour went by. Time and energy wasted. Frustration mounting. What was the point of collecting if he couldn't even enjoy his cards? Then he stopped. How had his collection become chaos? If he couldn't even find the cards he loved, what was the point? The next weekend, he took control. Sorting, labeling, organizing, and creating a system. And just like that, with everything in order, the hobby felt fun again. This hobby became enjoyable because he organized his surroundings.
Ridiculous Fondling Cardboard.
What is up? And welcome to Fondling Cardboard. I'm your host, Mike Lakusta, aka the Golf Card Collector. This is the 12 Rules for Hobby series, where I take the powerful lessons from Jordan Peterson's 12 Rules for Life and break them down, helping you become a better collector and, more importantly, a better version of yourself, both in the hobby and in life. Last week we talked about setting boundaries to improve the quality of your life and your hobby experience, both in terms of time, finances, and even relationships. Today, we're talking about rule number 5, which is organize your surroundings. And there's an old cliche. It's funny, I think I enjoy starting every one of these episodes with a cliche, but a cluttered space equals a cluttered mind. And that's especially true for those of us who suffer from ADHD-like symptoms. And I find that people in the hobby who really enjoy collecting and accumulating tend to have a little bit of a scattered space. Now, of course, that's not true for everybody. There are certainly very well organized and very put together people in the hobby. But I would say more often than not, those of us with our collecting space, whether that's your bedroom or your office, your kitchen table, things can accumulate. It's just a byproduct of being a collector. So when your room, office, or even your schedule is a mess, it adds unnecessary stress. When you can't find something, when you don't remember that you had to do a task, every time you go to do something, it can feel frantic. And every evening when it's time to shut everything down, it feels like you didn't accomplish anything, and every sale or trade or commitment within the hobby or your life feels like crunch time, butted right up against a deadline. So it's those small habits like cleaning your desk or setting up a system that can make a huge impact on how you feel. Because organizing your surroundings creates clarity, reduces frustration, and improves your focus. So there's this collector's problem. Hobby chaos. Sports card collecting can get messy fast because we accumulate stacks of raw cards if you're opening wax or joining breaks, and when you receive those cards, you might not think that it's all that important to organize them because they're not expensive, but what ends up happening is they can accumulate. Even some of your supplies like top loaders and penny sleeves and team bags, those can create clutter too. And when you're doing different things within the hobby. So you could just be organizing and trying to store cards in boxes and binders, or you could be cleaning cards and grading cards. And when I say cleaning, I mean prepping cards, and organizing those different grading submissions into piles. You could be selling cards. You might even have piles of cards that you don't know whether you're planning on selling them or keeping them or creating a new collector's lane, or if it's something that you want to explore or give up on. I don't know what I call that. I think when I talked to Jeremy Lee many months ago on the podcast, I called that my chopping block. It's like stuff that you don't even know what the plan is, but you kind of have to decide what to do next. And then within buying and selling and grading, you're going to have all kinds of materials, even above and beyond the card protection products like top loaders and penny sleeves and card savers. I personally have all kinds of different shipping materials, whether it's bubble mailers or bubble wrap or tape and envelopes and paper and stamps, and I use cue cards to cover up cards that are shipped plain white envelope, little bits of cardboard for protecting cards, and that could be anything from scraps of cardboard to full-on little cardboard inserts that Upper Deck puts into their packages so that you can't tell the thickness between a thick patch card versus a pack that doesn't have any of those kind of cards in them. And all of this is to say, in a hobby that the core focus is collecting and accumulating raw items, it becomes a mess fast. And if you don't clean up your desk and create a system, the hobby can quickly become just another pile in your house. Just like those piles of mail and flyers sitting next to your front door, or the stacks of paperwork and documents that you and your partner or your kids are supposed to get to and sign off someday. Or probably more accurate, it's like a pile of toys that your kids leave around and say they don't want to get rid of, except those toys belong to you. And if you're constantly searching through those piles trying to find the right thing, or worst case, just the example I gave at the beginning of this episode, if you lose an important card, an important item in that clutter, it can make your hobby experience a disaster. And that's a sign that you need better organization. So here are some practical steps on how to organize your collection. First, create a sorting system. You can organize by player, team, set, sport, value. I've talked in the past about my favorite box. You can put all of your most important cards in one box, and cards that are sort of mid-tier in your mind, in terms of your collection. And then you can have all of the fodder, the odds and ends, kind of kept in bulk, stored away in boxes and binders, where, stored away so that it's not cluttering up the important stuff. Whatever makes sense for you, you do need a system. Next would be proper storage. I mentioned boxes and binders. Slabs can be a bit trickier, especially when within a particular lane, a player collection, a team collection, you might have raw cards in magnetic one-touch holders, or graded cards. And it's tricky to organize those all into one place to keep them together. And what I typically do is I've got boxes that are sized for graded cards, and I will keep my raw and magnetic one-touch holders all together for a particular lane, just so that things don't get too scattered. And really that's just so that you don't throw everything into random piles. Next is labeling, because it might seem obvious to you now where something is stored, but later on, this will really save time and frustration when you're trying to look for a specific card. Your labeling needs to be simple but thorough. So for example, if I keep all of my golf cards in one area, I have a whole bunch of different golf card lanes. And so having a giant box labeled golf cards probably won't be good enough. I'm going to have my cosmic golf cards in one area, my autograph golf cards in another area, probably have all of my Tiger Woods cards in one area, or it might be based on value, my high-end golf cards, medium golf cards, and base golf cards. And then lastly is something that I really am trying to figure out, which is digital tracking and organization. Because there are some apps out there like CallX and TCDB, Trading Card Database, or even image galleries like PhotoBucket or Imgur or whatever other ones. I'm probably missing some of the key ones that will help you organize by the exact cards you have, take a photo, organize them into files. But there's also the old tried and true method of spreadsheets. Even a simple list can help you track what you have and what you need. It could be checklists of sets. It could be just logging all of the cards that you accumulate and that you buy so that At the end of the day, you can remember what you have, you can track values, and when it's time to start letting go of some cards, you can be sifting through the list and remind yourself that although it might be so hard to let go of one card, you can see that there's these 100 other cards that are higher on your priority list. In the big picture, at the end of the day, organizing your life is very important to your mental health and well-being. All these same principles apply beyond the hobby. Organizing your time, finances, priorities, those piles around the house. Not only will it help your family be happy and content with your space, but it will bring peace of mind for you. If your schedule is chaotic, your stress increases and your productivity drops. A well-organized life equals more time for what truly matters. So my closing thought is this: the hobby should feel fun, not frustrating. So when your collection or your life, like mine at times, is a mess, you're spending more time dealing with the mess than actually enjoying what you love. So take control of your space, your time, and your collection, because a well-organized collector is a happy collector. Hope you're enjoying the 12 Rules for Hobby series. I look forward to getting back to you tomorrow with the next rule.
Ridiculous golf card collector.